Okay, here we go. Enough, you'll stand up. Thank you for that. If you're smart enough, you'll stand up, and the first thing you'll do is you'll just shake out whatever you left behind. Go ahead, just shake it out. Stand up and shake it out. If you're driving, then please don't do this. But if you can, if you could see what Chaim's doing, then you would probably want to do that. But I'm going to just give you a small, tiny little version. Yeah, that's a small, tiny little version. But go ahead. Shake out everything that you brought with you, because we don't need that for now. If you want, at the end, you can pick it back up, or else you can just leave it there. That's up to you. All right? So that's the first thing. Just shake it out. Shake out all the pain, shake out all the worries, shake out all of yesterday and everything until then. Just shake it out. Shake out tomorrow, shake out yesterday. Let's be right here, right now. And let's be right here, right now together, okay? So I want each and one of you to just take a moment. Eyes open, eyes closed, however you feel more comfortable. Deep breath in. If you're driving, do not do this. Okay? This is only if you're in a safe space and you're comfortable standing or sitting. And just take a deep breath in. And remember a time when you were really happy, calm, yet open, curious. Sort of like when we were kids. I remember we used to play with the toys or whatever it was. In the beginning, it was what it was, but within a few seconds, it was what we wanted it to be. And from then until someone called us to supper, it was what we wanted it to be. Well, guess what? We still have that ability. And if you just take a moment to put yourself back into that space. No, not the time that you wanted and they didn't give it to you, or none of those. Just the time you were in a good place, life was good, the world was good. And from that place, we're going to begin a journey today. Before I begin, I have to thank the Rebbeinu Shalom, obviously, and my partner in crime, Chaim Roth. Go ahead, if all of you could hear the clapping that's going on, all the applause that's happening. Chaim.
Yeah.
And you guys can see the setup that he put up for me over here. I can see you guys, and I can, well, not you, obviously, not the video, but I see who's here. Live from Iran. I see myself, obviously, and I hope you all see the board, because it could be I'm going to be using the board a little bit this afternoon, evening, depending on where you're joining from. Okay? So once you put yourself in a state where you left the past, whatever you brought along with you to come here today, just, we don't need it now. All we need for now is open, curious, learning mode, whatever that is for you. And guess what? Many people join webinars and seminars and classes, read books, take courses, and they got a lot of knowledge and information. And yet you talk to them a month later, a year later, or at any time in the future, and you say, what did you get out of that? And they say, yeah, oh, wow, the speaker was so dynamic, or the content was so phenomenal, and it just, I was so inspired. And how did it impact your life? How did it change your life in a positive way? If it did. And most people are like, oh, not sure. I'm sure something somehow sunk in, and maybe, you know, the Alav Avchem concept, where everyone's heart opens at some point, according to the Koskin. That's why we put it Alav Avchem. So when it opens up, it should fall in. That's also a possibility. And yet the Ramban, in his Igeres, his son writes, the Chashe took him in Asayf. When you get up from studying something, look for an application for you to apply it. In order, and now you can touch L'kaima however you want, and obviously that's for sure shot. But I would like to suggest that L'kaima means that it should have kiyum. It should continue to exist. It should survive, it should thrive. I was thinking to myself, imagine there are two doctors, they both learn how to do some intricate operation or whatnot, or procedure. And one of them, he gets a chance immediately after learning it and studying it, he gets a chance to do that operation, to be present for some reason. He's there, he learned it, he studied, he got certified, next thing you know, he's doing. The next day, he has an opportunity to do it. You have another doctor who learned together with him at the same time. And for whatever reason, for the next 20 years, he never got a chance to actually do that operation. Regardless of how many more times, obviously, the other one may have done it, which makes sense. So let's assume that he never ended up doing it again. It's something that's just once in a lifetime kind of thing for most doctors. 20 years later, there's an opportunity for that operation to be made. Is it just me, or is the audio off? It's just me because I'm, okay. Sorry about that. So which one do you think would be a better choice? The one who did it right away after he learned it, even though he hasn't done it in 20 years, or the guy who just hasn't done it in 20 years? Applied knowledge is what we're talking about. Applied knowledge is what we're looking for. Applied knowledge is what's going to be the difference between joining something like this and sitting and listening and watching and hearing and maybe learning something new, and having this content actually have impact on your lives. Okay, so we're going to jump right in. I think we have our little crew over here. I hope some other people will join us in the coming minutes. What time is it? I don't want to go too fast. I do want to give, yeah, we can open up and we can, Chaim says, the producer says, let's roll. So let's roll. So I hope everybody's in a good state, open state, ready to hear, ready to learn, wanting to take home whatever you're going to take from here and apply it. All right? Don't just take it home, throw it into a sock drawer. You take it with you, and we're going to apply everything so that you should actually see the results of these processes. Okay? So here we go. Since we're a small group, even though I don't know who may or may not see this in the future, there is one thing that I would like to suggest. And that is that although men and women are very different, they do connect. They are capable of connecting. And very often, at their differences. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in a moment when we talk about the human needs and where we connect. In general, when two things connect in the universe, what needs to happen for them to connect? So we're going to back up really, really far. Anybody that's been with us since day one may remember some of what I'm about to say connected to that. If not, you can always go back and watch it. We have it recorded. We should have it up either on wherever it is. If you don't find it by yourself, you can always reach out to us using the link that you used to join us in the first place, and we will see to it that you get it. Okay? So one of the first things we talked about is that in making decisions, every decision is driven by a need. Okay? Without going too deep into it right now, but if there was one word that would be the perfect word to describe, and there's a little bit of a machlokes in the exact terminology, I would call it needy. We are all needy all the time. You know, it's like 10 wins. We are all needy all the time. Except needy is not really the right word. We came up this weekend in the pool with the word wanty. We're not so much needy as we constantly want things. So when we spoke about decisions being driven by need, we immediately realized that there's a difference between a long-term need and a short-term want. So when I want something, I'm only focusing on the short term. When I need something, I need to focus on the long term, the ultimate. Why is that important? Ultimately, which is survival. So needs are what drive the decisions, yet very often we get stuck on the wants. And we do, oh, I really want that. We even have ways of saying it in such a way that we even convince ourselves that the want is a need. You know how we do that? When we say, I'm dying to have that, or I'm dying to do that, that's just saying that I want something so badly that I'm willing to compare it to a need. I'm trying to upgrade it to a need, because a need is something without which I cannot survive. So if I'm dying to have that, or I'm dying to do that, that means that without it, I'm going to die. But in reality, we only use those terms on things that we really want. Very, 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 very. Did I say very? Very, very bad. That's all dying to means. All right? So let's not confuse our wants with our needs. Our needs are long-term, wants are short-term. And in order to understand this better, and again, you can go back and watch the whole video of the decision-making process. I believe that it's a very good, clear, the content is powerful. You'd let me know how the delivery is. but basically knowledge base. You walk away understanding how we make decisions and why it's so important to know that in order to be able to upgrade and update and not just struggle and try harder. Struggle and try harder is not the model here. And if you're just looking to struggle and try harder, you might want to turn off the computer right now and just go do something else. Go try harder. Right over here, we don't try and we don't harder. What we're doing is we're tapping into the natural process that we all use anyway, except we do it mostly subconsciously, which is where it should be happening. Most of our 95, 6, 8, 9, whatever the right number % of our existence is being run by Hashem, of course, through our subconscious. We are cordless, right? There are no, well, I'm cord attached today because of the sound, but we're cordless beings. That means that if my hair grows at a different rate on my head, grows at a different rate than my eyebrows, it grows at a different rate than my beard, grows at a different rate than the hair on my legs, I don't know. They're all different. Who's running that? The pH level of the saliva in my mouth, right? Let's not talk about all the different body functions. My heart, my liver, I have body parts I don't even know that they're there, and I don't know what they're called, and my subconscious knows how to run it. Programmed by Hashem, with the help of Hashem, of course, but it's being run by this amazing computer that we have inside of us that most of us don't trust. And we'll talk about that, because the first masculine, feminine, Zohar and Nekeva relationship experience is within ourselves. So is everything Zohar and Nekeva? Is everything male and female? No, it's masculine and feminine. It has Zachrus and it has Nukva. And providing, fulfilling needs is going to be very important. I don't know if we'll get to it today or in a different session, but it's very important for us to understand that relationship between the Mashpia and the Mekabel and how everything in the Bria works on that model. Everything in the Bria works on the model of Mashpia and Mekabel, including Bari Olam, being the ultimate Mashpia, if we can even say such a thing, in order for us to eventually become the ultimate Mekabelim, which is something that we've spoken about in the past a bit, and we'll still talk about again in the future. Yet for now, let's understand that whatever we're talking about, whatever we're discussing, whatever you've heard me say in the past, whatever you're going to hear me say today or moving forward, is always, I was taught not to say always and never say always, is more often than need-driven. It's about feeding the need. Whatever you're struggling with in life, whatever you have struggled with in life in the past, whatever you're going to be able to not struggle with in the future, is by learning how to identify the need so that you can feed the need. And lav dafka the want. Now, words, different people have different ways of understanding different words, and I'm not going to go into a whole language or linguistic understanding, but let's just for the context of what we're going to be talking about, let's understand language as follows. Okay? We have needs, we have wants, we have mashpia, we have makabel, we have masculine, we have feminine, we have male, we have female. We're going to be interchanging all of those words, okay? Now, there's need, there's want, there's desire. In Lushan Kodesh, there's Tzoyrech, there's Rutzen, there's Chayshik. So we're going to interplay with those words a little bit. When we say feed the need and not the desire, or feed the need and not the want, okay, the need is the long-term need. The need is the deep need. The want is temporary. The want is just a need. And very often they clash. Not always, but very often wants and needs clash. I need sustenance, right, which gives me a feeling of hunger. I seek to overcome the pain of the hunger, and Baruch Hashem, not me for the last 10 years, but back in the day, for almost 30 years, 3 packs a day. Now, that's not the way to feed the need of hunger. Although it works temporarily, right? So again, if you want to understand the whole set, there is a video of it. go back, watch it. If you can't find it, ask us for it, and we'll send you the link, or we'll send it to you in whatever way we can serve you, because that's what we're here for. In order for us to feed the need, though, we need to understand what are the needs. I do believe that in a previous session, I spoke about the needs according to Chaim Kapel. We didn't do that yet? Okay, we're going to do that one of these days. But for now, we're going to use what I refer to as the 6 human needs as taught by human needs psychology. Okay, so we refer to them as the 6HN, just to shorten things, and it keeps. That's the 6 human needs. And I'll go through them right now. Those of you who have ever heard me do this, great. Those who have heard anyone else do it, even better. Yet I can tell you that the way I'm going to do it now is a way that's going to be unique, not just to the content, but to the understanding of how we can apply it. Okay, this is not just going to be, here, let me tell you about 6 human needs. We're going to learn how important a lot of these are in our interaction. Maybe we hit some bumps in the past, but we don't have to in the future. Okay, so come join me for this. Take a pen and paper if you like, or else you can take a screenshot of this afterwards, up to you. Usually I find that writing them down is helpful for memory, although you don't need to. Install them for you, okay? So human need number 1. What's the top need according to human need psychology? The first need that we have, and again, there are so many different models. There's math, there's different psychological models. There's so many different models of human needs. I'm not suggesting that this is the only one. I'm just suggesting that this is the one that we're going to be using because I have so many applications for it. If you've studied or plan on studying different models, that's fine. And even if they don't clash with this, they might add some. They might say there's only 4. They might say there's 16. They might find 24. They might find 8 instead of 6. Yet, using different terminology, they're all going to include these in some way. For us, though, the reason that we're using this model is to explain a lot of the content that we're going to be talking about moving forward, because it's so much easier to understand it by using this. And there are many other ways that I use this in one-on-ones or in workshops. So you might see this a few different times, a few different ways. That's why I said if you've seen this before, don't fast forward it yet, or don't go get that coffee now, because there's some new stuff coming up. So the first human need. The first human need, according to human need psychology, is the need for certainty. Okay? I need what I need to know, and I need to know it now, even though I'm not sure why. Right? We need certainty. We need Versicherheit. We need bitichut, bitachon, whatever the word that you use for that is. I need to know. I need to be sure. But what if? But maybe it will. Maybe it won't. When we live in uncertainty, which is that very many of us suffer from, we suffer from the pain of uncertainty. And what's interesting is when we get to the second need, we're going to be like, huh? But it's true. The first thing that we need before we do anything, before we're able to do anything, is we have to know certainly. We have to know parameters. Tell me more. You want to sell me something. You buy something from me. You want me to do you a favor. Anything in the world. Before I can budge, before I can get out of bed in the morning, I need some certainty. And unfortunately, people who suffer from uncertainty, from not having enough certainty, suffer from anxiety and pain and fears and all kinds of difficulties in life. And not their fault. It's just they're suffering from the lack of certainty. So in order for us to function, the first and foremost need we have is for certainty. Okay? Now here's where it gets interesting. Once we have enough certainty, the Rebbe gave us a need. What happens when you're too certain? What do we call that? When you're too certain, right? You get bored, right? If I told you, if you knew exactly what's happening from today until the end of your life, every single minute, and I give you a disc, you can start scrolling through it after a while. How much? You're just going to erase the whole thing because life's going to become so boring, so predictable, right? Imagine eating breakfast, lunch, and supper every day. So you're very certain that you're going to eat, but you're going to have the same exact thing every single day. After a while, we are going to seek variety, change. Guess what that represents? You ready? You got it if you got it. Otherwise, here it is. We have a need for uncertainty. No, not yet. No, not yet. Once you have enough certainty, that's when you begin to need uncertainty. And here's the thing, we can fulfill all of our needs in a positive, neutral, or negative way. And we're going to talk about that. Yet first we have to realize that we have a need for certainty. When you ask your spouse, where are you? When are you coming home? Or when your spouse asks you, where are you? When are you coming home? What did you do today? What did you do? What did you do? What are we going to have? What are we going to have? Who's coming for Shabbos? These are all searches seekers for certainty. We're looking for certainty. And yet, once we know everything, now we need certainty. I'll never forget when my daughter got engaged. One of my daughters got engaged. So I think she got engaged in the middle of the night, Monday night, if I recall correctly. And it was Tu B'Shvat on Thursday, I think, or Wednesday. And my Mechitten and I, for different reasons, wanted the VAR to be on Wednesday. The lady said Thursday. I would have done it Tuesday, but that was too fast even for me. And so we decided that we're going to call the hall, and whichever day they have it, that's where we're going to make it. Turns out, Baruch Hashem, the Baruch Hashem helped, that the hall was available both nights. So now we couldn't even use that. So I was walking down the streets of Borough Park. I was going to the grocery. I was going to pick something up. I went to Daven, and people are meeting me. Oh, Mazel Tov, giving me Mazel Tov. Asked me, "No, when is the VAR?" I didn't know. And I started getting very frustrated. I'm telling the story. You can't tell frustrated because I'm not going into state. We can talk about that. But I was very frustrated because I was so uncertain. And then all of a sudden I reminded myself, wait a second, according to human psychology, we need uncertainty as much as we need certainty. Why am I getting stuck in the uncertainty that's a lack of certainty when I can celebrate the uncertainty as what it is, which is variety. Variety equals fun. I love fun. We were talking about a simcha, which is meant to be fun. And that's when I remember the following. Tony Robbins says the following. And I'll quote Torah whenever I can. And if someone says something that I feel is quotable, I'll do that as well. Tony Robbins says the following. Two statements about certainty and uncertainty. Probably about certainty, more than uncertainty. He says, number one, the only thing in the world that is certain is that there's going to be plenty of uncertainty. Write that down, take that in, and use it however you want. The only thing in the world that's certain is that there's going to be plenty of uncertainty. The second thing he says is that the quality of your life is going to be a direct result of how much uncertainty you can have. I'll say that again. The quality of your life will be a direct result of how much uncertainty you can handle. Okay? And that's something that we can work on. Yes, we all have a starting point. Yeah, we also have where we want to end. It's like leave everything you brought along with you from before, leave it at the door. You'll decide whether or not you want to pick it up on your way out. But for here and for now, realize that whatever you have been suffering from uncertainty in the past, you don't need to continue to suffer moving forward. Once you learn how to use this, how to apply this to everyday life, which is something that we definitely will talk about in our upcoming mastermind summer 2020, in the bigger ones, obviously, in the bigger ones, but even in the shorter ones, not in the shortest one. And yet, ultimately, this is one of the things that we're going to learn from everything we do here, is how to be able to handle more and more uncertainty. Because the more uncertainty you can handle, the more certain you're going to feel. Okay? So that's certainty and uncertainty. What's interesting about it is, and I'm just going to point it out now quickly so you can follow along with me, even though I'm going to point it out later, hopefully, is that certainty and uncertainty, do we all agree that certainty and uncertainty are opposites? Yes or no? Yes. Hello? Someone just tell me. Hello? Yes. No. What's going on? Yeah. Can we all agree on that? That these two are opposites? Yes? Yes? Anybody? Yes. Beautiful. Yes. Thank you. So now, the third human need, the third need that we all share, that we all have, which when we talk about feed the need, we're going to be able to figure out exactly in what order and how to do this, first for ourselves and for others, is, you ready? The significance. To feel significant. We need to feel Rui. We need to feel important. We need to feel like we are valuable. Okay? Now, I'm going to jump quickly into the next one because I'm going to talk about both of them. Okay? Once we have enough certainty, and once we have a little bit of uncertainty, we have a need for significance. Once we feel significant, once we feel unique, valued, valuable, whatever that word is for you, chushiv, kovid, right? We have a need for love and connection. Okay? Now, just like the needs for certainty and uncertainty, you can achieve these needs in a positive way, a neutral way, or a... Yes? Agree? Okay? Now, we're going to go through in a moment how the different formulas of how you set up your needs and how you fulfill your needs are going to impact the life that you're living. But just for now, once we have enough certainty, we have a need for uncertainty. Once we have enough uncertainty, after the certainty, we have a need to feel significant, which I would like to suggest is admired. And then we have a need to feel love connection, which is adored. Now, just so we understand, significance alone is not enough. Imagine someone who wins the Olympics, gold medal. I believe that's the highest, right? Gold, wow, millions of people around the world cheering, yeah, everybody. There's a party afterwards. The party goes on for hours and days. And then at the end of the party, the winner, this guy, he comes home to an empty apartment. He doesn't even have a pet. There's no one there to celebrate with him on that level. Right? Imagine that. Because significance is not enough. We also need love connection. Yet here's the thing. Just like certainty and uncertainty are opposites, significance and love connection are opposites. I'd like to explain how. In order to feel significant, you need to shoot for or feel or that you're perfect in some way. Right? That means significance is perfection, success-driven. I achieved, I conquered, I had a challenge, I did what I did, and I stepped up, I stepped in, and now I feel significant. Yet guess what? In order to feel loved, in order to connect, we don't connect where we're significant, we connect where we're perfect. If I'm perfect and you're perfect, we have nothing to talk about. Except ourselves. But if we're perfect, why would we want to listen to the other person talk about his perfection? It is only where we are vulnerable that we connect. Right? We don't connect. Nails don't connect. We know the physicality. I always say, if I take my two hands, the way they are, Baruch Hashem, and I hold them together for as long as you want, tie them together and hold them together for as long as you want. After months, Chas v'sholom, for whatever reason, untie them, and I do this, what's going to happen? My hand's going to stay stuck with them. And yet, if Chas v'sholom, I have a wound over here and a wound over here, and I hold my hands together, and I tie them together, and I keep them that way until they heal, and then I try to take them apart, what's going to happen? I could be able to, because they will have healed together. In construction, they taught us you want to build two brick walls next to each other. Like you chip away at one and chip away at the other new one in order for them to join, right? And connect. So by definition, we connect at the point of our vulnerability. Okay, you can think about this physically as well. We connect the most, we appreciate the most, just the feeling of touch. We appreciate the most in the places where we feel the most vulnerable. Right? Soft. So that's what connection is, but guess what? If you're significant and you're perfect, who can you connect to? And I find that many in Galat, and this is not, we're so busy being significant for our spouses, which means being perfect, and yet we could only connect where we're imperfect. That those two clash. We're so busy, the boss, and I am, and oh, that's great, but and if she needs that, there's a need for that, right? Be a man, be a man, be a man, and yet there's no connection from that. That can lead to connection, but that can't connect. This perfect doesn't connect to perfect. Only imperfect connects to imperfect. Does this make sense? Does it make sense? Pick up your hand, say yes, say no, say argue with me, say something, type in, let me see that you're alive, let me see that I'm alive. Come on, go ahead, fellas. I appreciate that. Go ahead, come on, show me some life. Show me some life. I need to know I'm talking to somebody, but I'm talking to myself. It's pretty good. I'm enjoying this. Are you enjoying this time? I'm enjoying it. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so you know what? You guys keep doing what you're doing. There you go. That's the way to do it, G. All right? So, certainty. I have enough certainty. I need uncertainty. Once I have enough uncertainty, I need to feel significant. Once I have enough significance, I need to feel love connection. And by the way, you can feel love connection with yourself. Yeah. Okay? And by the way, this is where some people can actually go wrong. Because it's already perfect. How could perfect connect to anything or let anything connect to it? It's already perfect. Perfection. What does perfection still need? Perfection has no needs. So perfection can't connect to anything. Thank you for that question. He asked, why can't perfect connect? And the answer is what I said. Perfect is already perfect. Doesn't need to connect to anything. Doesn't have any needs. So it can't connect. Imagine two partners who are both amazing financiers, but neither one of them can fill out a form for their life. Do they need each other? If two people are great at filling out paperwork, but they don't know how to make money, right? Partnerships are made up of, I have something that you don't have, you have something I don't have, and we connect by a place that we don't have. That's where the point of connection happens. Where I need something from you or you need something from me. Right? That's not simple. I'm not going to go there right now. Although the answer is in the question. Okay? So now, once I have enough certainty, I need uncertainty. Once I have enough significance, I need love connection. Now, guess what? I can fulfill all these needs, and we're going to talk about the other two soon, because these are the four basic needs of all human beings, and these are the needs of growth. These are the needs of the spirit. These are the needs of the neshama. These are the needs of the inner needs, the deeper inner needs. I'm just going to quickly, if the Eibishter is perfect next to the Rabban Shalom, I'm going to remind him of a pasuk that we just learned and a Gemara that we learned. Now, halacha in the mitzvahs is v'dalakta boy. The Gemara asks right away, Eish achlahu, how can you? And the Gemara tells us how we can. We cannot connect Chas v'Sholom in any way. We can't even imagine connecting directly. We could achieve Be'ezah Hashem Lo Sidlovoi, a matzav of Ne'enim Ziv HaShechina, not connect. In fact, because there is no imperfection. I hope that answered your question, Aaron. But again, this is something we could talk about in a more detailed setting when we're doing a mastermind or one-on-one. For now, let's just continue in our needs. And so I started saying that in order to fulfill these needs, okay, what we call the base needs or the basic needs, we can do this in a positive way, a neutral way, or a negative way. I'm going to shoot for positive and negative, and I'll let you guys figure out some neutral on your own. If money, okay, my job, I can get each need fulfilled at a little bit, a little more or a lot, right? So we call it a scale from 1 to 10. So 1 means I don't get it at all. 5 means I get it a little. 10 means I get it the maximum that's possible. Now, it's very possible for a person to get all of these 4 from his job, right? So his job gives him certainty. He has a job. He has an income. It gives him enough a little variety because not every one of those boring jobs where you keep doing this. He can feel significant in his job. He gets raises and he gets promotions and accolades, and people recognize his achievements. And he can even get, I don't know about love, that's not the best place to look for love, but connection, definitely. If he has coworkers, if he has a boss, if he has workers, people under him, et cetera, he has a partner, he can get some form of love and definitely connect, right? At high levels. Now here's the thing. Anybody can also get these at high levels from having a problem, right? If you're certain that you have a very big problem, you know you have a problem, and it changes every once in a while. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's that, sometimes it's different, so you get a little variety. If your problem is very big, so you can get significant problem, and people connect to people with problems, as we said. Vulnerability attracts, right? That's when we connect. So someone who's very, very, very vulnerable is so easy to connect to, whether it's in the hospital, someone's sick, someone's dying, someone's listening, a young child in general, vulnerable, right? So that's connection. We connect to the vulnerability. Okay, that's where we connect, and between ourselves, we connect with all this. So if I'm very vulnerable because I have such a big problem, and so first I have a lot of people attracted to love me, connect with me, and even if they're not around, and maybe that's my problem, then I have a lot of self-connection. That's so smart for myself. And that's a connection. It's a self-love connection. Okay, so I can achieve these from positive and negative ways. Now let's take a look at how this. We're okay. I'm still running. Now let's take a look just at how this can get in our way in a relationship. Okay, so in the relationship, did anybody else? Yeah, the video seems to have gone off. Oh, there you go. Video back. All right, video back. Are we good? Say yes, say yes, say yes. Yep. Okay, thank you. So we can achieve this. Let's take a look at how this can get in the way of a happy marriage. All right? And ladies and gents, pay attention for a second. This is very important. If, let's say, husband gets his certainty, as we said, he gets some variety, some uncertainty, right? He gets some significance, and he gets some connection, love connection at work. And yet when he comes home, he's not sure about his relationship. So he's not certain, right? The variety has gone out the window a while back. We haven't had fun or gone out or whatnot. So I'm getting variety at a very low level. He's not feeling very significant. He keeps being told what he's doing wrong and then what he needs to change and what he needs to fix and then blah, blah, oof. He's not feeling very significant. Maybe his love connection he's getting at very low levels these days at home. So if he's getting at work, he's getting certainty at a 10. He's getting uncertainty variety at a 6. He's getting significance at a 4, 5, or a 7. He's getting connection at a 3 to a 5. And then he comes home, he's getting certainty at a 1. He's getting uncertainty variety at a 1, 2 if he's lucky. Significance 0 since the last time he remembers. Maybe love connection once in a while at a 3 or a 4. Where is he happy? Where are his needs being fulfilled? And for those of you who are parents, if your child is getting certainty with their friends and variety with their significant with their friends, they even feel lovely and connected to their friends, and then they come home and they're not certain about anything, and no variety, fun type, and totally insignificant because everything they do is wrong, and yes, you're showing, hoping they feel the love connection, but they're just not feeling it. By their friends, they're feeling all these at an 8 to a 10, and at home they're feeling all these at a 3 to a 4. You tell me, where is the person going to go? Are we going to go where our needs are being fulfilled, or are we going to come to the place where our needs are being fulfilled at a very low level? And these are things that we need to think about. Now, this is not about blame. This is not about who should do what differently. This is just so you know, and you'll be able to apply these things moving forward. With help of Okay. Need number 5. If there's any questions, by the way, about this, now's the time to ask it. If there's anything that you need to know, you want to understand from anything I've already said, please feel free to ask now. Otherwise, I'm going to continue. And I'm going to continue anyway, believe it. But I'm just going to give you guys a moment if anybody has anything specific before I continue. Because these two are very important. They're all important, but these two are going to add to the importance of the importance. Okay, great. No questions? That's good. It's a good sign, I think. It means either that you all understood what I'm saying or you all went for a coffee. There we go. Where? I don't want to get there. Please explain your question. Where I don't want to get there. What happens if the needs of the couple conflict? You come talk to me and we'll discuss. I don't know. No, seriously, it's not complicated to work it out. Okay, but once we know what his needs are, what her needs are, and once we establish how he fulfills his needs and how she fulfills her needs, then we can find where they can connect. Because like I said in the beginning, I'm not sure if all of you were here in the beginning, and this is a difficult statement because I'm not trying to insinuate anything. I'm just stating something that seems to me to be true, is that although men and women are very different, we connect at the point of our differentness, differences. I don't like the way that sounded. I'll stick with differentness, right? Oh, so where do the women get their needs from? So 100%, that's what Tati is here for. That's what the husband is here for. He's here to give his wife certainty. He's here to his wife with plenty of uncertainty variety. He's here to make his wife feel significant, and he's definitely here to love and connect with her. I hope that answers your question, okay? So now the next two needs are the need for growth, and I'm going to just throw in the sixth one because I'm again going to show you how they're opposites and yet they work together, and this is the one that confuses all of it, is that we have a need to contribute. We have a need to contribute, and since that's a need, very often what we call giving is really either taking or receiving. Okay? We spoke about this on one of the previous sessions, and if you want, go back and watch that because that was very powerful, and yet we will continue to talk about it moving forward, how the giver-taker can ruin any relationship. All right? One of the things that I mentioned, I believe in a previous session, is that it's our own lack of self-esteem which becomes a black hole in the relationship. Because we just keep sucking and sucking and sucking. There is no fulfillment of that desired need. That's what I was saying earlier, by the way. I'm just going to take you back to the beginning. Anybody who watched this from the beginning remembers that I left that loop open. Feed the need and not the want. The word in Lushan Kodesh for want is Rutzain. Every word in Lushan Kodesh has a shoydish. What is the shoydish of the word Rutzain? Come on, don't go back to your chayda head. Right? The shoydish of the word Rutzain is Ratz. That's why we call a runny nose. Yes, sir. Ratz means it keeps on raging. It never ends. It never stops. It just changes to the next one. The minute that, I always say like this, a need fulfilled is a need fulfilled. A desire fulfilled is not a desire fulfilled because there's always another one right after. And that might be one of the reasons, if anybody can ask a restaurateur about this, because I never went to restaurant school, but this is just something that makes so much sense to me. That when you go into a restaurant, fanciest restaurant in the world as far as I'm aware, I don't know, again, always help me with my metaphor, but this is my metaphor. If you go into the fanciest restaurant to order a steak, a fish dish, or any other kind of dish it is, what is going to be either put on the table before you got there or put on the table while you're sitting there before they either take your order or before they feed you the food that you ordered? Okay? There's going to be two for sure and possibly three things. There's going to be bread, there's going to be water, and possibly there's going to be oil. Guess why? Again, a metaphor in my opinion. You let me know if this is real or true, or if any of the restaurateurs even have that they're doing this. This is my svara. They know, consciously or subconsciously, that if they feed the need will be fulfilled. And we all have a need. When we need to eat, we have a need for bread and water. Those are the basics. And possibly oil, or to dip the bread into the oil or what. Okay? Once I fulfill my need, now when you bring me my steak with my fries, with my drink, with whatever it is, I'll put that in on top of the need. And then when I go home and 2-3 hours later, someone says to me, oh, what did you do this evening? I went to that restaurant. Oh, how was it? I'll think back and I'll say, yeah, I had a good time, but I'm going to check if I'm hungry or not. It's 2-3 hours later. If I'm hungry, I'll say, it was very nice, we had a nice time, but it wasn't worth the money. I came home, I had to eat a slice of pizza. Or whatever is appropriate. Right? But if you remember that, hey, I'm full, 2-3 hours later, yeah, oh, that's a good restaurant. So how do we do that? You make sure that you eat bread, drink some water, maybe dip in some oil, take care of the need. And then when the steak and the fries shows up and the desire, so you get the desire. 2 hours later, the need was fed, so that's how you remember it. And you remember it as a good experience. Okay? So the goal is to feed the need. The desire is constantly changing. Every time you feel a desire, there's a new desire. Feel a desire, there's a new desire. Feel a desire, there's a new desire. If I may just connect this a little bit, going into it, but anybody who comes to what I'm saying, fine. If not, don't worry about it. There's plenty more to hear in another moment. Is that nefesh is Ratzon, and the Torah tells us, Ki hadam hu hanefesh. That's why we don't eat the blood of the animal. Is the blood keeps on raging throughout the body, and that's the nefesh habahami. That's what we don't want to ingest. We don't want to get that nefesh, that desire, that animalistic desire, which is represented in the blood of the animal. Anyway, if you understood it, you understood it. If not, let's move on to the human needs and how we can use them in our relationships. Okay? So, we have a need for certainty before anything else. We can get that certainty in a positive way, neutral way, negative way. We need uncertainty, variety. We can get variety in a positive, neutral, or negative way. We have a need for significance. We can get significance in positive, neutral, and negative ways. You can get significance by finishing a masechta. You can get significance by making a lot of money. You can get significance by punching your guy in the face. You can get significance, like we said earlier, by having a big problem. Love connection. We have a need for love connection. Once we have enough of that, we need to grow and we need to contribute. Now, here's where they are different. Here's where they are opposites. If you're going to grow your bank account, you grow your bank account. It gets bigger. If you're going to contribute to your bank account, that means your bank account is going to get smaller. You know, I'm not going into esoteric and try to have etc. I'm just talking now from a physical perspective, from a reality-based perspective. If you have a choice, right? We always say one of the things we talk about here is everything in life is either a perk or a price. You want to pay the perk. If you're willing to pay the price, you get the perk. Always pay up front because credit is always more expensive. So you can either grow or you can contribute. They say, I believe, from Rav Pam, that a Rebbe once came to him, a Cheder Rebbe, and he said to him that he wants to leave Limdus. He wants to stop being a Cheder Rebbe. So Rav Pam asked him why. He says, because he feels that he's already for 10 years or more, and he's not growing in his learning. So Rav Pam is purported to have quoted to him that it says, if a person wants to learn Torah, you should learn Torah from someone who's doing the Malach Elakim Tzvakas. He said, what's unique about a Malach Elakim Tzvakas is that he doesn't move. The Malach doesn't move, doesn't change, doesn't grow. In order to learn Torah from someone, you have to learn Torah from someone, again, according to Rav Pam, using this metaphor for kids, is that, yeah, he has to give up on his personal growth in order to be able to continue to teach Torah. Right? So we realize that need, that change in need, that on the one hand, I have a need to grow, and on the other hand, I have a need to contribute. Contribution, by definition, seems to say lack of growth. Yet I would like to say something slightly maybe controversial, but I'll say it as idle as I know how. Okay? The Rebbeinu Shalom created organisms. That's what we all are, and that's what all the organisms around us are. And each one of these organisms has a need for sustenance and gives out waste. I believe that the Medrash says that the lowest animal or being or organism is the mosquito, Yatush. I think the Medrash mentions is that it's so selfish that it doesn't even give out any waste. Which got me thinking. That organism, in fact, needs sustenance, it takes in, and then it has waste. Even our breathing, if I recall correctly, anything from my childhood science classes, is that we breathe in oxygen and we breathe out, someone help me, carbon monoxide or whatnot, and the trees with the, right, they need, and we're in the ecosystem, we're constantly, each organism's sustenance is provided, and again, I'm not talking this scientifically, this is metaphorically, definitely. Each organism's sustenance is provided by another organism's waste. Okay, and that's what we always love about the farmer, because the farmer is able to use fertilizer to grow the crop of next year. And that's the ultimate in using waste for sustenance. Okay, so we don't constantly eat the fertilizer, and yet the fertilizer helps us grow the crop. So again, we see this constantly over and over, right? What's one animal, one organism out in the wild becomes the sustenance of another by providing it with a carcass, or providing it with its death, or providing it. So we're constantly, this is constantly happening. Okay, yet most of us, especially in marriage, we have this tendency, ourselves and our spouse, eating at the end, limited resource, right? So imagine this is a limited resource, and I show up, and someone else shows up, and now we both think that this is a limited resource. We don't realize here we need all over, but for some reason we get focused that this is the limited resource, and we both need to survive from this limited resource. And now we're coming at it, and we're trying to. So what ends up happening is that the only way that I can deal with the fact that you're visiting my limited resource, or you seem to be attacking my limited resource, is I need to either eliminate, or I need to control you so you don't touch my resource, or I need to put a fence around. I need to protect the resource. Those are my options. Now, without going too far off topic, because if I go in that direction, there's a very big chance I won't find my way back to here today. I'll find our way back eventually, but I don't know about today. But so before I go too far off, let's just say this. You ever wonder why children grow up to be teenagers who hate their parents? Doing all their lives. We've either been, well, God forbid, we're not trying to eliminate them. That's been cited or murder. That's like, right? But we're constantly either trying to control them, the resources. Put the cookies all the way up so they shouldn't have to come on and get it. Put a rubber band around the cabinet. They shouldn't be able to get into it. Go to sleep. Hold your hands to yourself. Go to change. Go to bed. Go to this. We're constantly controlling them. We're controlling the resource. Well, guess what? That's how we treat enemies when there's limited resources. Subconsciously, somehow they may be picking that up, and they go, "Oh, we're the enemy to your resources. We're trying to eat," but it's not true. We're here to share with them. Now, here's the thing, and again, I'm being a little bit limited in the fact that this eventually comes public, and it's not as intimate a gathering as we are right now, but this is something that we can talk about in an intimate setting maybe one day, which is that interrelationships, we keep on feeling like the other person wants something from us, when in reality, they only want our waste. They don't want our resources. When your wife gets upset at you, and you're sitting on the couch and you're wasting time, she's not getting upset at you that you need time to go to the bathroom, you need time to go davening, you need time to go to work, you need time to study, you need time to be with the kids. She doesn't want any of that time. That time is your time. That's your resource. That's your sustenance. But if you're going to waste it, that's hers. She wants your waste. Again, metaphorically. Whatever it is that you're willing to waste, she wants it. That's what she needs. She doesn't want, when she asks you, where are you? What are you doing? You're like, oh my, she wants it. No. She just wants to make sure you have money to waste on your friends? You have money to waste on that stupidity? You have money to waste on getting a ticket? That's my money. She doesn't want the money you need to buy food, to buy lunch, to buy a coffee for yourself. If you can afford $15 for a $2 coffee and you're wasting $10, she might want the $10. Most people don't want our resources from us. They're not trying to take out anything from us. They're just saying, instead of wasting it, give it to me. Okay, now this is a very, very deep concept that, again, at times needs to be discussed in a more limited and intimate conversation, and we'll leave it to that. But for now, let's just understand that when we talk about giving someone else, providing someone else with their needs, it's not by sucking out our needs. No, we, at the end of the day, have a need to contribute. That's a built-in need. I'm more or less going to put this sleep for now. For some reason, I don't see time anywhere. And time is one of those things without tracking that we can easily get lost. So I know where we are. Oh, there we are. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. What would I do without Chaim? Thank you, Chaim Ross. Okay, so basically, the way we feel is, if I provide them with their needs, who's going to provide me with my needs? And that's why I always say that every Shalom Bayis session is always going to end with who goes first. Because at the end of the day, once we realize who to provide what to who in order to get their own needs, because that's what gets the process going. And we spoke about last week, the chip on the shoulder that needs to be reprogrammed. Go ahead, go watch that clip. It's a very powerful concept, reprogramming your chip. So the next time you meet and your Bluetooth connects, it doesn't connect by the last conversation you had, but it starts the next one, okay? So let's just review quickly, and I'll take any questions you have. Human need number one is a need for certainty. I need to know. Need number two is for uncertainty, variety. I don't want to know. Need number three is I need to feel significant and important. Need number four is love and connection, is where I am not so important. And I need to be soothed, right? And then we have a need to grow, and we have a need to contribute. The need for growth. Now, here's the thing. There's a Moedik Klal. I believe Tony talks about it. Tony Robbins talks about it. He says that anybody who is somebody who you meet, who lives, okay, without going into that detail, although it's something we talk about, is probably spending most of their time needing certainty and significance. And I think the line goes something along the lines of, anyone whose top two needs are certainty and significance is going to experience pain and suffering. And we said earlier why. Certainty, the only thing that's certain is that there's be plenty of uncertainty. And significance, we already know from Chazal, that if you chase significance, it runs away. You avoid significance, it chases you. But it's definitely, you cannot chase significance, you cannot demand significance, because the more significance you chase, the more insignificant you feel. Hey guys, right? So therefore, you cannot chase certainty and significance. And that's why whoever's chasing those two top. Now, you're going to ask me, how do I figure it out? I happen to have a great exercise that we can do. And if you guys ask for it, maybe we can do it on a Tuesday at 4. If not, sign up for one of the programs or reach out to me for a one-on-one to find out what are your top two needs and how have you been fulfilling them in the past that hasn't, maybe not, maybe sometimes, maybe not at all, but been working for you in the past. And how can you shift them, or how can you change the way that you seek them? Sometimes it's just enough to use a different vehicle. You don't need to change the needs. Sometimes it's important to change the importance of the needs, the order of the needs. So if your first need is for certainty and you get stuck that you always need certainty first and you need it on very high levels before you can move on to uncertainty, you may feel stuck in life. If you might have a lot of fun and everybody loves having you around and you're the life at a party, but you're not certainty and you're not very significant, right? If you're constantly chasing significance, you probably don't have any friends, or your relationships are shattered. If you're constantly loving love, connection, and people pleaser all the time, okay, I'll do it to you, let's just connect, let's just get along. You might be living without certainty. You might yes or no, a little variety. I'm not sure, up to you. And definitely someone who's significant wouldn't be doing that, right? So that's coming from someone who feels very insignificant. You might want to realize it. You might ask yourself, where's that coming from? If you're growth driven, it's very possible that you're letting go of other things in your life that need to be dealt with constantly over and over. There's repetition that needs to happen in your life. You have to pay your bills, but you're just busy on growth. Maybe you're all taking courses and classes all day and you're not applying them. And if you're contribution driven, which is the highest level, although it's the highest level, but if that's your top level, there are still things that, again, you maybe fall into, whether it's the people pleaser, or maybe you just be giving away too much and they're getting enough of your own. But in the healthy way, because we said we could fulfill each need in a positive, neutral, or negative way. The positive way of contribution is that you get to experience certainty by providing certainty to others, variety by providing variety to others, significance by making other people feel significant, love connection by loving others, because loving and being loved feels the same. And you can contribute to the growth of others by constantly promoting them and supporting their growth. And that's how you can get everything in life that you want from contribution. But don't start here. If you start here, then that means that this is your greatest need right now, not the need that you build. And wherever your starting point is, that's usually not the best place to continue without exploring how it served you in the past, how to serve you in the future. We have a lot more to say about this and many other topics. I am going to sort of close this up, wrap it up, do a short summary. And at the same time, I would like to just quickly point out something that may or may not be interesting to all of you. Definitely interesting for me is that it seems that in the world today, or always, I'm not sure, but definitely today, people whose highest needs are for certainty, significance, and growth tend to be the more conservative among us, while others whose needs are variety, love, connection, and contribution are the hippies among us. Now, I'm not going to tell you which one to be or which one I am, but just so you understand that these are sets. They're not just opposites, and they're not just needs, but there's so much more going on here. And much more are just a tiny little bit of the things that we talk about and we focus on in our mastermind groups. And whether you're going to choose just a quick mastermind, 90-minute call, and just get your tracking, get some few tools for yourself, whether you're going to join us for a month of intensive work, once a week with exercises, and then a bonus after that of, I believe, their Sunday, mastermind your own week, Sunday sessions with some of our top trainers, or maybe even myself, you never know. Or you sign up for 3 months, and you want your place at the table. You want to be counted, and you want your voice to be heard, and you want to figure out how to enter the leadership of Klal Yisrael in the world. Whichever one, we are definitely going to explore these and many more ideas and concepts. To go from where you've been in the past to where you're going to end up in the future, either by plan or not, that's up to you. Okay, so just a quick summary. Men and women are very different, and yet we connect at the places where we're the most different, right? Physically, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically. We have 6 human needs to realize ourselves. What are our needs in general? What are our top needs? How in the past have I attempted to fulfill these needs? What worked and what didn't work? Knowing that certainty before uncertainty, both of them before significance, before love connection, significance and love connection can clash at times with growth and contribution being the needs of our today. Feed the need. Feed the need. First your own, and then the needs of others. If there's any questions, we'll wait a moment. Otherwise, I hope to see you guys on the other side at one of the mastermind groups. Sign up. Change your life. Get what you're looking for.